Here I am in my tiny home in the swamp. Last night, the church that I attend had a testimonial service. Now, many of y'all may not know what that is, so I'll give a brief explanation. Basically, this is a service where people are invited to stand up and give a testimony to the goodness of the Lord. It could be for prayers answered. It could be for a job. It can be for salvation. I mean, any number of things that you're thankful for. Now, the reason for this is just to encourage your fellow church members and to encourage yourself in the faith. So, I was thinking about something. I grew up in a little church, a little tiny church. And when I got older and got saved, and I did a video recently about how that went, I always said I would never go back to a little church. Little church ain't for me. Now, this video is not particularly pro-little or pro-big church, even though you could see where my bias is at this moment. But I'm just going to go through the differences, and possibly you know some differences too. You can put down in the comments. The advantage of a big church: lots of people, lots of money. When I say lots of money, I don't mean to put back into the church, even though some do that. You got to keep the church up, make it look nice and presentable. Money for ministries, opportunities to serve overseas in a tangible way if you can't go yourself. I've been able to give money with several hundred other people to put wells down in small villages, to support orphanages, not just overseas, but here in the United States, to give big. Also, another advantage to a big church is programs. 9 times out of 10, they're going to have programs for kids, teenagers, youth, whatever you want to call them. They're going to have children's church, a big, robust children's church usually. It's just something for everybody. There's always somewhere to be plugged in. That's one of the advantages. There's probably more. None's come to my mind at the moment, but to me, those are major advantages regardless. What's a disadvantage? The loss of family feel, to me, is one. Now, don't get me wrong. I went to a large church for years and years. And that, hear my rooster? That was encouraged. They had groups of people, and they had that family feel. But there's no way that you're going to sit in a pew 100 foot from somebody and know what's going on in their life that possibly you could help, you could assist in prayer, come along beside and hug, because you just don't know that person, you don't know their situation. Now, don't get me wrong, not everybody's going to tell their situation. So that's kind of the disadvantage. Now, I've heard some people say, well, big churches, they have cliques. I would disagree with you on that by virtue of the fact that it's not necessarily cliques. It's just people of like mind, maybe like age, maybe like hobbies, tend to hang together. It doesn't mean you can't be there. I mean, you're the one that's on the outside looking in. You just got to make yourself known and get in there. Some people complain that big churches are unfriendly. I found that also not to be true for big or little churches, because really I've heard that complaint for both, big and little. In order to have a friend, you got to be a friend. You got to step up there, shake someone's hand, introduce yourself, whether it's a big church or a little church. So basically, that's it on the big church. The little church. Now let me get to the little church. The advantage of a little church: they definitely don't lose the family feel. If there's a clique in a little church, it's pretty much the whole church. Personal ministry. As much as they will tell it, I know everything that's going on that's of concern with every person in the little church. I know that people in their family have cancer. I know they're in need of a job. I know that they're praying for salvation for a lost loved one. About almost everybody in the church. That's that family. Give me a hug. That's that feel that you just can't get in a larger church. For instance, prayer requests. You know, usually at the beginning of a small church service, they take prayer requests. This is just not feasible in a large church. You can't sit there in a church full of 300, 400, 500 people and start taking prayer requests. You'll be there all day. However, those are handled in Sunday school typically. Of course, not everybody goes to Sunday school. Regardless, small church. I'm not sure where to go with this, okay? My wife and myself, feel very appreciated in our small church because every little thing we do counts for something big, even though it might not be a big thing. Whereas in a bigger church, that just kind of gets lost in a shuffle. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the church is not appreciative of efforts or that the pastor is not appreciative of efforts. Like I said, I attended a large church for many, many years. And that pastor and the pastors before him at that same church always showed an appreciation for the people that would work. And I don't want to disregard someone who comes there and doesn't work. I'm just saying that when you go in there and you offer a little bit in a little church, they make a big deal out of it. And I guess they should. What else is the difference? Try as he may, the pastor of a large church just cannot know everybody. No matter how good they are with names. Especially someone that kind of comes in, leaves. Which is the advantage to a big church. If you want incognito, you come in, get your little worship on, listen to the music, and leave. And that's that. And nobody will even know you were there except for those that sit right around you. Some people like that. Some people want incognito worship. They don't want to be part of the community. And therein lies a big issue with either church. As a Christian, you should want to be part of the community of believers at the church you attend and just people you know. You need to hang around with people of like mind. When I was drinking and hitting the bars and staying out late at night, I was with people of like mind. As a matter of fact, when I got saved, I lost every friend I had. We didn't have nothing in common anymore. And they rejected my Jesus. And while I didn't reject them, I just wasn't fun to hang around with anymore. And that doesn't have anything to do with a small church, big church. I'm just throwing it out there. What else? You tell me. Leave a comment below. What do you like about big church? What do you like about little church? And even though it may have seemed like I was bashing here, I do not. Like I said, both of them have major advantages. I just found myself settling into a little church. Like I said before, I would never go to a little church. Here I am. Never say never.